Hello, it's me, and it's about time I tackled the Saturn Megaminx. So, among the planets in the solar system, the one that holds obviously the most interest. When you think about a planet, when you think about what's out there, what comes to mind is the visual image of Saturn. Huge planet, large area, large rings around it. It's become basically iconoclastic in what we think about as alien and surreal and very beautiful that's out there. It's actually the farthest planet that we can see with the naked eye without the use of any telescopes or anything like that. It's also, I think, about 760 times the mass of the Earth, and it has an orbital speed that's among the fastest in the solar system, aside from Jupiter, actually. Despite its large size, it takes 10 hours to make a complete revolution. Only 10 hours. Given its size, think about the screaming speeds that it has to obtain in order to make that kind of a journey. It's almost incomprehensible how fast it's moving. Its moon, we used to think was the largest, which is Titan, which has an atmosphere that's a lot like early Earth, and it's larger than Pluto. Turns out it's not the largest moon. That's Ganymede from Jupiter. This one is an interesting puzzle in that it's actually kind of a combination. It's got one side that is bandaged, surrounded by non-bandaged sides. These guys over here. The opposite side, so that looks really just like what we saw with the Jupiter Megaminx. Opposite side here, you have a non-bandaged side surrounded by bandaged sides, just like Mercury. So basically, if you took a Jupiter and a Mercury, cut it down the center, joined it together, you'd have yourself a Saturn. And the reason that they did this is to most closely resemble the Saturn cube. In that with a Saturn cube, you've got one area that is bandaged, and directly across from it are bandaged areas. So that way, you know, this most closely approximates opposite edges here. But they couldn't just put another bandaged side over there. So the solve of this is going to be patterned after both Mercury, then moving to Jupiter, and then doing a very unique Saturn strategy, very similar to what we did with the cube, which is one of those strategies that's, you know, intuitive to do, difficult to explain. Let's see if I can do a little bit of a better job at doing that than with the cube. Anyway, first off, don't panic. Let's slowly get through this and see if we can do it together. So, with shaky hands and much trepidation, I'm going to go ahead and scramble the beast. Abra, cadabra. And there we go. So, what I enjoy about these is just how impressive it looks in a scrambled state. And it's unlike, you know, with the Circle Megaminx and even with the Jupiter, there's certain restrictions to how much you can scramble it. Like, you're always going to have the same colors on top. With something like the Saturn Megaminx, it is actually as impressive as it looks, because everything is completely scrambled. So we're going to take this in a couple of steps, and I'll see if I can't give guides as to how to skip through certain steps and where you can go if you think you got it as I'm going through it. So the first step that I'm going to do is get, of course, the inner star. Not the cross, but the inner star. Put in all the inner edges. And I'm going to divide this into two sections. One is going to be the Mercury section, which is down here, and then the Jupiter section down over here. But to put in the inner stars, what I'm going to do is I'm first going to put in the bandaged sides first, because once I do that, they're pretty fixed in there, and I'm going to have to use the non-bandaged side to do that. This is done, quote, intuitively, which means that it's really just a matter of positioning, repositioning. Algorithms don't really play a role here at this point. But I'm going to start off by getting all of these around here, which is the Mercury version. So what do we got? Let's start off with a pink over here, so it's pretty obvious. I got to move this in this plane over here. Here's another one. I'm just going to move this up here. Move this down like so. Move this over here. More strategy is going to start emerging later. So this needs to come up in this plane. So I can move it in from here, since this is non-bandaged. Move this back. And move this. I have to move this to a bandaged side somewhere in this, or a non-bandaged side somewhere in this plane. There it is there. Okay. And we're done. No, I'm just kidding. So there's one. Now we got to put this guy in here. So beige, move here. Now as I go through this, we're going to start encountering some strategies and algorithms that we've seen before. And we've got a whole host of tools in our armamentarium to use with that. Right now it's still pretty simple putting them in, just finding where they are and finding what plane they need to go into. So I got a nest, I found a whole nest over here. One needs to be put in through this plane. And this, okay, and I can move it in through here. Now I want to move this into here without messing this up over here. So what I'm going to do is turn, 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 turn. So far no problems. And put this one in as well. This is going to be, I also have to do some handoffs here. Hand this off to this fixed side, non-bandaged side. And then I can move it in through here. Because this is fixed, this won't be changed. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Alright, so these two, so far no problems. And now the blue one. So let's see what we got. Blue. Here's a blue one over here, which is way down away from us. So let's see if we can't move it to a place that we can use. Like here, turn and back to maintain the pink. Alright. So this we can move in without destroying anything else. And this blue can easily slide into here. Now this is deceptively easy right now because I don't have to worry about too many things or bumping our head into anything else. So the other blue right over here. So again, this isn't the complicated part of this puzzle. So I'm going to go 1, 2, turn, 1, 2, turn. Alright, now one more, which has to be moved in this plane, right over here. Turn, turn, turn. Okay. The first time I did this, I got halfway through the puzzle and realized the record button wasn't on. I wasn't too happy. Anyway, yellow comes over here, or orange rather, comes over here. So now we're going to start bumping our heads with these guys. So we have to start being a little crafty with some of the algorithms. But here's this. This we can easily turn here and, well, actually we have to do like this. Turn, turn, and up. That way we don't pull this one out here. This one has to come in. Move this here. Turn, turn, up. And we have this that needs to come in. Turn, turn, up. But we can't do that because we're going to knock that out. So what are we going to do about this? How are we going to put this in? Well, in order to do that turn thing, I have to be with the bandage side, or else I'm going to move whatever I turn in here into it. So how am I going to turn this over here? Well, what I actually really want to do then is I want to move this down here, but I want to move this in without turning this guy, because if I do that, I'm going to mess that up, get myself caught into a trap. So if I only had a way of bringing this to here and then just moving it back without turning anything else, that would be good. But I actually do have an algorithm to do that. I remind you that if you have a fixed side, non-banded side, and I hold it with that on top, I do have an algorithm that spins these top ones around. As long as I do it right next to, in other words, right to the left of, holding to the right side, a banded side. And that's doing that R-U-R-I-U, R3-U-R-I algorithm. This is going to be maintained fixed. This is going to be maintained fixed if I hold it like this. So what I want to do is position it to where this orange ends up where this red is. So I'm just going to turn this around here, and I'm going to do the algorithm until I see this guy up here. This won't change, so don't worry about that. So R-U-R-I-U, R3-U-R-I, and there it is here. I just turn this back, and now that's where it needs to be, and I just turn it back here, so that's in. Now this is just a refresher. You've seen me use this before, but I don't want to make any assumptions that you've been seeing all those before. That's a key strategy that I'm going to be using when I need to place something without moving anything else. So like a jigsaw puzzle, we keep going. We keep going. So here's the other orange, and I want to put that over here. So I need to move it within this plane so I can move it into here. So I'll just go turn here, turn here, turn back. Alright, so then it's just a matter of going 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now I can do that this time because this is bandaged, so I'm not moving things in or around. I just have to remember to move it back. So good, 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 and good. Now we just have the green one to go. I can easily move this one in. But again, I don't want to screw this one here up. So I'm going to turn here, 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 and here. That was no problem. Another green one. Here's a green one. So how am I going to do this? Well, this guy moves, so I can go turn. Now we got to be careful because this is just the side of one that that's bandaged. Or non-bandaged rather. So, how am I going to do that? Turn, turn, turn. In this particular case, I'm not moving anything out, so that's okay. Alright, another green. I found a nest of greens way over here. One I have to move in this plane, so I'm going to move it to the white one here. So we're going to go turn. Whoop. Actually, can't move it to the white one because it's not going to work. So I'll have to move it to the purple one here. Turn, 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 turn. Alright, now can this work? 1, 2, turn, 1, 2, turn. So we're still good. The other green is here. That needs to be moved in this plane, so I'm going to move it here or here. I've got plenty to choose from. So we'll go turn, 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 turn. I can do that with reckless abandon because it was on that side here. And now we just move this in place. Again, this is to the side of a bandage, so I don't care what I do. 1, 2, turn, 1, 2, turn. Okay, so these are all in. So that just makes one more to put in, which is this. And I've got all of these guys to use to do that. Now, it really doesn't matter so much if I put these in now, because I'm going to do it Jupiter style, which means I'm going to kind of need things to be out on the top side here. Like I need the green here to move it in, but I'm going to do it anyway, just because it makes it easier to orient myself with that. So I'm going to put the white ones in. In this case, I can go turn, 1, 2, turn, 1, 2. Okay, I'm going to try to screw up as little as possible so that I can make things clear. Here's a white one. Well, we'll do this one. This white one has to be turned into here. So turn, 1, 2. I got to be careful because I'm going to move this one out, so I can't do it that way. Can't do it that way. So here's how I have to approach that. Once again, I'm going to turn this in and I want to turn it back, but with this white one over here. I don't want to turn this around because if I do that, I'm going to be putting these bandaged areas to non-bandaged areas, so moving it back is going to move that. So I'm going to do the algorithm that'll put this to here without affecting anything else. Holding it with this white bandaged part to the side, I can do the algorithm until it flips from here to here. But bear in mind, these two are going to remain fixed. The one right in front of where I'm at and the one right to the left. So I'm just going to move it to an area where I know it'll turn, and I'm going to move it until it's in where this green one is. So I'm going to turn it over here, do the algorithm until I see white right over here, facing the white. R, U, R, I, U, R, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there it is there. Just move it back where everything was, which frees me to just go like bang. So I can move this in without screwing these up. So I have one more to place, and it's right over here. This can really get you out of a jam later on in this puzzle when you have to put things in and you realize that things aren't quite oriented, and all it takes is a quick orientation issue. So this has to make it to this side here, which I can easily do. like that. That's at the side. The bandage is at the left side, so I don't have to worry about it. Now this gets moved into here. The same kind of thing, I can turn it here, but now this white has to move to where this gray is, so hold it here. This will be fixed if I keep it there, so I'm going to turn it, do the algorithm till the white is right next to the white. 1, 2, 3, bang. There it is. I can turn it back, turn it in. Alright, so the end result is now the white one is in and all these are in. Okay, now we move to the non-bandaged areas to put in. I'm going to put this one in first because, you know, one of my main goals is to take all of these inners and keep them to one side. So I'm going to put the grays in first. Ooh, look at that. All the grays seem to be here. And I can do this with reckless abandon because it's going to be surrounded by these fixed areas. And because they're fixed, I'm in no danger of moving them out. So 1, 2, turn, 1, 2, turn. No problems. And now this one has to go all the way up to here. 1, 2, turn, 1, 2, turn. So that's okay. This needs to come up here. 1, 2, turn, 1, 2, turn. And this needs to come in this plane over here. So I'll just turn it. And now it's got to come over here. So I'll just turn it once more. 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And I shouldn't be screwing things up unless I really work at it. Okay, here's the last one. This has to come in this plane over here. So I'm just going to turn, turn, turn. And now same thing. 1, 2, turn, turn. 1, 2, turn, turn. Okay, so now all of these are in. Now that was easy. Now let's start applying things here. I got this star, but it's not going to stay there for too long. These guys all have to be turned into place. It's going to be easy to do it if I turn it from this angle, because I've got this at the side. But it gets a little harder when I have to turn it from this angle, and you'll see why. So what can I manipulate here? Well, this red can come in. Well, I'll just turn it in there, I suppose. Blue's in, green's in, well, green's purple's in, red's in. So let's see what else we got. Let's move this red over here. So turn it like so. Well, go turn, 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 turn. And I'm trying to do up moves as much as I can because that's going to make it easier. All right, we might as well put all the red ones in. This red one wants to come in too. Now I can't just go like, oh sure I can, never mind. Turn, 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 turn. That's because I happen to be just across from these guys. So I guess it is that easy. This red one here. Turn, 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 turn. Might as well get the other red in instead. Okay, so here's the other red. I'm going to turn from this perspective here. So whatever I turn now isn't going to be turned against one. So 1, 2, 3, turn, turn. 1, 2, 3, turn, turn. And then I can put this back in. So red is good. Let's get our blues here. Turn, 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 turn. And again, we try to coordinate it to where we're only moving when we're at the side of a bandaged part. I'm going to turn this over here. 1, 2, 3, boom. 1, 2, 3, boom. This moves back over here. 1, 2, turn, turn. 1, 2, turn, turn. Now this is for those that had a problem with this part. If not, you can skip it. And now we're going to do this one. So once again, always with the bandage to the side that I'm moving. 1, 2, turn, turn, 1, 2, turn, turn, and I shouldn't be getting into any trouble unless I lose my concentration, which is a distinct possibility. Red, blue, now orange right here. Turn, 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 turn. The final orange is over here. So when I do it, I'm not going to want to move it this way because this is non-bandaged, and I'm going to, whatever I turn into here, I'm going to end up mixing up. So I'm going to, as much as I can, turn it with this at the side, even if it means turning this up here. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And then just put back anything that I put in. So this is good. Now I just have these two. And I'm going to use the white one again to turn that. So turn, 1, 2, turn, 1, 2. And finally, turn, 1, 2. Turn. So we got it. That was pretty easy. We've got all of our inner stars over here.